It's Tuesday night, it's 9 o'clock on the 7th of April 2026, and where else would you be other than right here in front of your computer or indeed TV screen, watching the best of Irish sim racers and other racers around the world battle it out in the latest round of the RTA Virtual Motorsports season. My name is Kevin Galvin. I'm joined in the background as always by Ronan Hedeman, and thankfully I have my partner in crime, Evan Dalton, back. We'll come to him in a second. We're on to round 6 now of this RTA Porsche Cup Series, and a very interesting Cup Series it is as well. We've had a lot of ups and downs. We've had some drivers really take their opportunities, and Dylan McClements is certainly one of them. Had a superb last week in the wet of Silverstone, and we head across the Atlantic now from Silverstone over the Atlantic to the state of Wisconsin and Road America. This isn't a first time for us here in RTA or indeed on Gantry TV. But Road America is going to host the IMSA Vintage Special Event, the 500, this weekend. But before we get to that, oh no, it actually won't, I say. It used to, but that's been handed over to Laguna Seca now this weekend, so apologies. But it has posted the IMSA Retro Special Event for the last number of years. 4.048 miles, 14 turns with a race lap record from Alex Zanardi way back in 1998. In the old kart series 141.874. We're not going to be near that this evening, but the Porsche Cup cars are certainly being driven faster and faster every week by these drivers who are getting more and more used to them. And now that we're back to some good weather, thankfully, hopefully we'll see those times decrease even further. Evan Dalton, you were away last week. I'm glad to see that you haven't decided to reconsider your living arrangement following that game against North Macedonia last weekend, and you've decided to join us. This is a super track, Road America, and it works particularly well for the tin tops.
Yes, good to be back. Hello, Kevin. Hello, everyone watching along. If you've ever considered putting yourself through torture, go watch an Irish international friendly. Road America, really good track, great RTA history. We've had some cracking tin top races around here in the past. Mustang America's Cup springs to mind, but Road America, one of the longest tracks we will race on the calendar this season, but has the potential to be one of the best. It is a real driver's track. All the IndyCar drivers, IMSA drivers, and whoever else races here says it's one that they all seem to enjoy. So it should be a fantastic evening. Dylan McClements is top of the standings, but a lot of challengers in the session tonight, so hopefully we get 3 entertaining races.
Yeah, and his arch nemesis, Nicky Charlier, who was on the interview room with us last week, having picked up a podium position of his own. He continues his good form, the number 2 car. And this man may have something to say about it as well. Harvey Dara, who always comes in right at the end of a qualifying session with a great time in the number 13 car. Yeah, this Road America track, it's a real sort of retro track. It's kind of almost Nuremberg-y, like it's quite narrow, it's quite tight. The barriers are very close. It's not really a sort of a Herman Tilke track with lots of big runoffs and safety areas. Like there is a potential to really do yourself some damage around here, which I think we saw in the IndyCar series last year, if memory serves me correctly. Evan, I'm sure you'll be able to confirm that. But yeah, I mean, this track is thrills and spills, particularly the kink, the right-handed kink of turn 11. If you get that wrong, you end up being spat back across the track into the barriers on the right. Of course, that kind of the corner, downhill right-hander that turns, sweeps back up the hill. You can take more of it than you think you can. And the carousel as well, of course, that big sweeping right-hander that kind of entices you to get on the power early, but you have to lay off. I love this track, I have to say. And I think I said this the last time we were here, any track that has a big advertising hoarding for cheese certainly deserves my respect. And it's going to be an absolutely brilliant stage, I think, particularly given now that we're down towards the business end of the season.
Yeah, it really is a fantastic track, nicknamed America's National Park of Speed due to its location near Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. It is a fabulous, fabulous circuit. And yeah, IndyCar, one of the best races of the season, is here at Road America, and there usually is a bit of damage. But running through the standings, it is Dylan McClemens who is top of the order on 289 points, ahead of Nicky Charlier in second on 221. Harvey Darrow, what a season he's had, in third on 210. Rory O'Shea, first win of the season last week in heat number 3. He's on 209, ahead of Brandon McGohan on 208. Jan Zoutzevella on 200, ahead of real racing driver Conor Amelia in 7th on 197. And it's Jordan Kelly, Dr. Dean Power in 9th, and Cam Chukwa just a point behind Dean in 10th position.
Yeah, Dean having a great season as well, certainly battling up the top. And I don't see Brandon McGohan again on the grid. Obviously, we talked a little bit about it last week, and again, it must have been incredibly difficult last week for the McGohan family. So totally understandable that Brandon probably isn't quite in the headspace, because he was top of our championship going into last week. But naturally, it's just, family always comes first with these things. And look, hopefully we will see Brandon on the grid whenever he's ready to return to us, because he's a super quick racer. And yeah, let's hope that he'll have another opportunity to be fighting towards the front. We're looking at Lee Cogan here. He has certainly, Evan, shown some pace over the course of the season. He just hasn't really been able to get the consistent enough results to put him in the top 10 of the championship.
No, he hasn't, and that is one thing we always talk about every season in RTA, is consistency is key. Many a championship has been won on consistency rather than pure raw pace. So for him and for a lot more drivers, it's just about getting those steady results in. We saw Jack Wynne is going to drive a real racing car because of how consistent he is. So goes to show what can happen when you put your mind to it. But speak of the devil, there is Jack Wynne out on track. But he'll be just looking to get the head down, get a steady result here in Road America. I imagine there's going to be a decent bit of spinning and crashing this evening, so avoid all that, and you will likely pick up a top 15, maybe even top 10 result.
Yeah, absolutely. And like speaking of Lee Cogan and Jack Wynne, they're right beside each other in the in the overall standings. Jack Wynne, there's a bit of a gap between Jack and Lee, but 12th and 13th, Jack is 131, and then Lee is 104, kind of looking more over his shoulder at the likes of Simran Thacker and Colin O'Regan. But nonetheless, a good result tonight could see him go ahead of Jack Wynne, as we see a car off there in the distance. So yeah, evening to everyone in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us here on Gantry TV. If you haven't yet, do click the thumbs up button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then do that, because you can't get involved in the chat unless you do so, as we go underneath the Sargento cheese truck. And that's certainly going to be a feature, one of the very many lovely little features here at Road America. The other thing I was going to say is many thanks to our sponsors, Trophy.ai, getting involved. Do some super work there in terms of getting your lap times down, getting yourself to get a little bit more of an understanding of where you can gain pace around the track. I'm sure Jack Wynne himself has used it plenty this week to get himself ready for this track. Thanks as well to Bois Motorsport, who were very kind once again to highlight Wildfire Racing's good result at the weekend, from 24th down to 5th in the Nürburgring Ring Endurance Championship in our Porsche 911 or 992 GT3. So it's been back-to-back good weekends for us at Wildfire Racing, and of course also Mondello Park, who we will hopefully very shortly see this man in a real racing car before too long. It's going to be a really, really interesting summer, and following a week where it's the first week where really it started to feel like it's brightening up. Like we've still had our bad days, and of course Storm Dave over the weekend, but we've had a couple of days this week and even this evening where it's kind of felt like there may be a hint of summer in the air.
Yeah, I actually got a little bit sunburned yesterday, which is cool. It's nice. We'll take that as that is a good save to keep that one on the asphalt. I'm not going to talk too much about scholarship because you're probably all sick of that, but we're getting very closer to the day where our first scholarship driver will be racing, and not this weekend, next weekend. Camto will take to the circuit, so exciting times.
Going to be really exciting, and I know Jack Wynne as well and Travis Mawhinney are going to be hugely excited about their opportunity to jump in the car that's being prepared by Johnny Hollywood. Johnny was off preparing the engine last week, if I'm right in saying. So he is, I think it was himself and Adam McCauley putting it together while they were watching the stream. So nice to see those two things going side by side. And maybe Johnny can give us an update on the car if any work has been done this week. Speaking of Campto Chukwa, he's our first to the top of the leaderboard in the AOR Racing Rexy number 16 car. 205.3 for him, just ahead of Sean McGoldrick. With a 205, also in Rexy, yeah, 2 AOR Racing side by side. Here is McGoldrick in exactly the same livery, and they're actually line and stern. One is right ahead of the other. So, yeah, Rexy chasing Rexy. It's I'm seeing 4 Rexys here. Nicky Charlier in third, 205.7. And all pretty close at the front there. A lot of drivers already in the 205s, Evan. Considering the length of this track, I thought we may be a little bit more split up, but the pace is very, very close by.
Yeah, a lot of drivers have put their practice laps in, clearly. We're looking at Harvey Dara here, who is one of them. He's only 98 hundredths off getting into those 205s. But we were talking about the history of this track, how much we like it. These drivers know all about it as well. They would have turned a lot of laps around here and certainly got up to the pace. But this is Harvey Dara heading in through the final couple of corners, the Bill Mitchell bend, and then into turn 14, the right-hander. The corner numbers are a little bit funky around here, folks. It will take you. But here's Harvey Dara went purple in sector 3 of 6 up towards the start-finish line as Rory O'Shea improves as well. So another one in the 205s. Yeah,
we're getting plenty down there. And if you're not the 205s, you're lagging far behind as Harvey Dara crosses the line with a 205.345. So let's have a look on board maybe at a lap around here with one of our drivers who may be approaching a fast lap. Let's see who's coming down the home straight here. This is number 13, Lawrence Soswa, no better man of the streamer himself. So Lawrence crosses the line here on the home straight. The pit lane is on the right-hand side. You can see the pit lane exit there, shoots you out here. You want to break at the third, the cone with the marking with 3 cones. Cut across there, you have a little bit of room on the outside, and then you come downhill, which means you do have to brake earlier than expected. There's a little 2 sign on the left-hand side. It's buried away there, but if you brake in around that, cut the inside and then go out wide, then you'll have your best run heading down the Moraine sweep. We are in the Kettle Moraine here in Wisconsin, underneath the Sargento cheese truck. Make sure you say your prayers to the dairy gods as you head underneath those. And down for the very short right-hander of 5, you're going down the hill, you're braking at the 2 marker, staying on the outside as much as you can. You can take a lot of the curb here. You can actually take some of that runoff area on the right-hand side as you come up towards this left-hander of turn 6. Very easy to get lose the rear. You're coming up over the bank there, and as you apply the braking, the rear can spin out from underneath you, but Lawrence doing a great job there as he comes through 7 down the hurry downs towards turn number 8. It's probably my favorite turn on the course. You can cut in nice and early and take it and come back around toward the carousel. So Lawrence taking a very tight line here. He's slightly coming out there, and now you can see he's applying the power. It takes a while to get back on the power. You have to be patient, and you have to make sure that when you do it, you go all out. Speaking of all out, here is the kink of the right-hander, turning at the one side, making sure that you keep it as brave as possible, and certainly bravery is absolutely the name of the game as you go through that right-hander and down towards Canada corner. Brake at the 3 sign, get in close to that curb. Lawrence losing a little bit on the inside, which meant that he had to overcorrect there on the outside. Not sure he's going to lose this lap, but up over the top now of turn 13 and down towards turn 14. This is actually a very tricky corner, I find. It kind of comes up on you a bit quick as you come out of 13. You're coming kind of being spat straight into the entrance of turn 14. Try and cut that as best you can up the hill, over the crest of the hill, and over the line for a lap here at Road America.
Excellent lap guide, Kevin, but I think that's honestly the first ever time that the driver we went on board with has actually completed the lap, properly without pulling off. So thanks a million, LD, a man who knows how to produce good content, giving us good content.
Yeah, there you go. Trust it. As I said, the streamer was the right man to be with. You can be sure that he's all about that content. As speaking of Potato Nation, here's Simran Takar, the number 30 car, coming all the way up to 205.3. So Simran at the moment, I think is P14. Yeah, just behind Lee Cogan. We were talking about it, just a point between them. And yeah, he's certainly ahead of him. Dean Power as well. We were talking about him. He's P9 in the championship at the moment, but P4 on the grid. So has the opportunity to have a really, really good this evening. Dean clearly has the pace, but it's just about consistency now for him. Excuse me. Thanks to everybody for getting in touch on the chat. Sam Emerald Car Shots saying good evening, as did Stephen, as does Graham's Racing Channel. We're all hoping for lots of great dry racing this evening. And Johnny with an update saying the 88 has come back from Sheen Engineering today with an updated front suspension. So there you go. It turns out that updates aren't only something that iRacing decides to do an hour before we go racing on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, iRacing love the Tuesday updates for whatever reason, and it makes totally no sense. But yeah, the scholarship car coming along very well, and I'm surprised the Shanes would deal with Johnny Hollywood again. But obviously, they've all made up. Nicky Charlier, impressive pace being pointed out in the stream chat, and he's 0.2 of a second quicker than Kamto Chukwa here, and 0.2 of a second quicker than Dylan McClellan. So it seems like Nicky has channeled or has built off that podium from last week, I should say, and he's looking to improve again and go even quicker. And improving there as well. Tony Griffin up to 5th position. That's a good lap from Tony, with Dr. Dean Power not too far behind. So some of the names who were maybe towards the mid-pack in the back at the start of this season coming up towards the front now as we get halfway through it. It is a testament to the hard work that they've put in, but there's a lot more hard work needed here tonight to pick up the good points.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel like I'm trying to see who the 12 car is. Is that? I can't see who that is in the 12 car. Is it Cogan? Lee Cogan? No, it's not. Anyway, whoever it is in the 12 car. Oh, it's Michael Corry. Michael Corry giving Tony a great tow there down the main straight. Michael actually himself in P7. So good stuff there for those two guys. Yeah, Dylan McClements, he's gone to a 2:04.8. He is getting faster as the number 88 car, but I'm surprised to see him 2/10 off the lead. I think he might have picked up a slowdown there. Has he picked up an X? No, maybe not. He's going to keep going with the lap. Conor Melia has though, but yeah, it is very interesting that Dylan it just can't keep up at the moment with Nicky. Those two obviously know each other exceptionally well over the course of the season. I think Nicky's just enjoyed his conversation so much with me last week. He's just dying to get back at the commentary booth, and that's why he's decided to really put in the effort this week to make sure he's up at the front of the grid.
Yeah, it sounded that way, certainly. As I love how we're saying Dylan McClemens is off the pace. He's literally 0.5 of a second off, which is quite funny. But he is currently giving his older brother Sean a slipstream right behind. Sean, no practice as ever, still just on the fringes of the top 10, which really annoys me, to be honest, because he should be punished for his lack of practice and sent down the back of the order. Someone who is down the back of the order is Jordan Kelly, which means he's obviously on controller for this evening, so no simulator driving there for him. But 2 minutes to go in qualifying. Nicky Charlier currently quickest out of Dylan McClements. Good lap there for Jack Wynne to jump up to what was 5th, but Sean McGoldrick has just pipped him, and he's now gone to 3rd position. So McGoldrick only 1/10 of a second off Nicky Charlier, and really getting to grips with his new Porsche Cup rather than his preference of the old one.
Yeah, and we were talking to Sean because he was on a podium place last week, and like we think 2 podium places actually, but we were talking about the differences between the old and the new one, and I do feel like Sean is starting to get to grips with this new Porsche Cup car. And like, if you like the old one, the likelihood is it's not going to take you that long to get used to the new one. They're not completely different vehicles entirely. Obviously, different differences in their nuances, but like if you enjoyed the original one, the likelihood is you're going to enjoy the new one. And it looks to me like Sean McGoldrick is starting to get to grips with this new car. Oh, that is Simran Tucker going very slowly, and I think that was Dean Power behind him getting slightly caught out, but managed to get past him. Jan Zoutvella, who joins us in the chat, good to have you on board with us, Jan. He should be taking part in this, but I know Jan has his hands full with a couple of different series at the moment. He says proper tight at the front, which is yeah, I mean, how most Red Bull second drivers would use to describe their car after Max Verstappen gets to put it through a setup change. But yeah, it can also be used to describe the grid this evening, and indeed any evening.
I had heart palpitations when I heard you were going to make a joke about that sentence. That could have gone a million ways. Thankfully, it went the right too. So we're okay. We're still alive. We haven't been taken off by Commodore Man or
Commissioner man,
whoever it
yeah.
is. Yeah. Rory O'Shea improves to ninth position, but that'll be that. And Nicky Charlier is on pole position ahead of Dylan McClements in second. Sean McGoldrick and Harvey Dower. Decent qualifying from them all. Jean suffering with a bad flu, so that's why he's not racing this evening. Hope you feel better soon, Jean, and can join us on track next week. But Nicky Charlier for Shamrock Motorsport with Potato Nation on pole position, and of Dylan McClements in second. Sean McGoldrick in third, Harvey Dower in fourth, Vince Campbell Chukwa, Jack Wynne, Tony Griffin, Dean Power, Rory O'Shea, Michael Corrie, Eric Killeen, Simran Tacker, Dermot Toomey, Sean McClemens, Lawrence Soswa, Colin O'Regan, Dara O'Connor, Kevin Joyce, Peter McCann, and Conor Melia down in 20th position. And then below Melia, there is Lee Cogan, Ross Wheatley, Simon Hutchings, Mladen Shrekovic, Dave Collier, Jordan Kelly, Ronan Keane, Jamal Gandor, Phil Upson, Sean Cullen, and Queeveen Brennan down in 31st. Whenever Connor or Peter have a poor qualifying, they always somehow seem to end up together. Them two will be cutting through the field from 19th, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, Peter is a bit down the championship for his liking. He's down in 16th at the moment, and Kevin is down in 30th. So work to do for those two veterans of RTA. But we're looking at the front of the grid now, and Nicky Charlier. I think this is the first time Nicky's got to grid on pole position this season. So looking forward to seeing how this Nick's Mo liveried Potato Nation Shamrock Motorsport car does in this coming race. He has two Rexy liveries behind him. And all we're waiting for is this man to raise the green flag.
Yeah, what's his name again? The flag stand man's name? Barney or Barry or something?
Yeah, I'll have a look. 1 second.
Yeah, the more important matters being discussed here on Gantry TV, as always. But what else would you expect? It's Tuesday night, and there is no place you'd rather be. So, Charlier and McClements.
Barney.
Oh, it is Barney. Okay.
Barney the flagman. He has his own Twitter account.
As one does.
Yeah, absolutely. Where it just posts videos, clips of him waving his flag at various special events. Outrageous. Excellent.
The real flagman does that as well, actually. Aaron something is his name, but he just posts videos of him waving his flag. Thank the Lord the lights have come on, sweet. 5 red lights ready to go. Nicky Charlier on the inside, Dylan McClements on the outside, followed by the two Rexies and Harvey Dower. And we go racing here in Road America. Good start, Tony Griffin. Good start, Dylan McClements as well, down towards the first corner. And you imagine there'll be a little bit of a nudge from Charlier here if McClements tries to sweep round his outside. They're neck and neck into the braking zone. And Dylan McClements is on the outside here of the number 2 and Nicky Charlier. They're still side by side, heading down through what is technically turn 2 in towards turn number 3. Charlier breaks the latest. McClements on the outside in the number 88, using all of that curb on the outside, which will give you an off track if you go too far over it. We're still side by side down into the Moraine sweep, and this is going to be a test, the last of the late breakers. These two are known for their feisty affairs. Will it be another one? Sean McGoldrick is into the slipstream too, burying down on the brakes of the one board, and Dylan McClements is into the race lead here at Road America.
Yeah, just still battling there between Nicky Charlier and Sean McGoldrick. Nicky won't be happy, tries to go for a move around the outside there through turn number 6, manages to hold onto the car, but they're still nibbling away at each other. Oh, as Harvey Dower goes for a send down the inside, Harvey wants a piece of the action. Oh, there's contact. Oh, that's big contact. There was only a matter of time before that was going to happen, and Sean McGoldrick was nipping away at the heels of Nicky Charlier, and unfortunately for Nicky, he said last week he's had a run of bad luck. I think that's another run of bad luck for him. I think Sean McGoldrick may see, maybe called by the stewards there. Harvey Dower sent it down the inside of Sean, and Sean wouldn't get his foot out of the accelerator pedal, given he was also trying to defend at the same time, and unfortunately spun him around. But that's great news for this man. Dylan McClements now 2.1 seconds, as his brother was caught up in a huge incident at the beginning of the race, which included Dermot Toomey, Colin O'Regan, Sean McGoldrick, and Lawrence de Soswa. They all got caught out in an incident going down through into turn number 3. Don't know if we get a chance to look back on that. I hope we get a chance to look at the Nicky Charlier incident with Sean McGoldrick as we follow this thing. But it's a two huge accidents already, and Nicky Charlier has the meatball flag, and his race 1 and almost certainly race 2 now have been badly affected by that.
Yeah, we may have to take a look at a replay when we can, but we'll stick with the action here for the time being. And this is Tony Griffin looking for the move on Harvey Dara and Rory O'Shea in the high pre, right just behind. And now here comes O'Shea looking for it down through 2 and 3 on the inside. This is going to be a brave one, but O'Shea doesn't outbreak Griffin. Griffin holds it, but he maybe run onto the grass here. O'Shea leaves him adequate space. This is super clean racing down towards the left-hander. Rory O'Shea is the slipstream off Dara in front, but dare I say Tony Griffin has the commitment here. One of his highest starting places in his short RTA career, but still looking for this one. Number 14, Griffin on the inside. He'll have that place, and now Dr. Power is looking for this one side by side with Rory.
Yeah, Rory opened the door a little bit too much. I think he showed Tony a little bit too much respect, and that allowed the Dean Power to stick his nose up the inside. But Rory doing well there in the number 81 car to just do enough to eke out Dean Power. Now let's go back and have a look at this incident. I think this is the Nicky Charlier, and this is the incident involving Lawrence de Soswa and Sean McClements. McClements is already well down the grid at this point. I think this is a later incident with Lawrence Soswa. Yeah, this is Lawrence spinning down at turn number 5, but I think Lawrence was involved in a bigger incident at turn number 2, and I think he was one of many caught up in that. We're going to see if we can get that. Here is our race director, Ronan Hedeman, right on the ball, so let's have a look here now. This is the incident involving Lawrence de Soswa. You can see cars going left and right. Lawrence is in the picture on your right hand side there, into 22. Oh, that's the number 23 car. That's actually O'Regan, is it? In the 20, no, it's not Colin O'Regan. Who is it in the 23 car? Am I right in saying 23? It's the yellow liveried
23. I can't
car.
see it.
It looked like it could be Colin O'Regan's paint. I feel like Colin O'Regan's been running a yellow paint this evening. But yeah, unfortunately, them losing it, and Lawrence is just a bystander in that, nothing he could do, unfortunately. And yeah, the grass most certainly has less grip than the asphalt, but you don't have to tell this man because he's 2.5 seconds up the road.
Yeah, Stewart's review is going to be fun tonight, especially with the people involved in the first incident, but there has been a lot wrongly wronged as we're looking at Jamal Gandor pushing Ross Wheatley, that is, up the road. Is that a new livery for Jamal? Looks nice and new. It's not his regular Simsa scheme. It has a nice dragon of some sorts on the side. Here's Eric Killeen up in 7th position. Strong running this for Eric, who you may correct me in saying he wasn't even here last week, Kevin, but it didn't get a top 10 finish in Silverstone, did Killeen. We'll be looking to improve that. Heat 3 in Daytona, he got a 9th place finish, so that was his last top 10. Kevin Joyce getting ahead of Simon Hutchings as, dare I say, the calmest Heat 1 ever?
What? Sorry, did you not see the multi-car pile-up and big drama between Sean McGoldrick and Nicky Charlier? Or maybe that was just me. I mean, we've had a lap without anybody dying, but yeah, I mean, if that...
Yeah, that's more than we usually get.
The standards are low here, I think. But yeah, I mean, Johnny says, fair play to Nicky for reversing down the wall. Not a huge amount of sympathy there, I think, for the number 2 car. And Emerald Car Shot says, good start from Peter. At least he didn't do that while he was riding on board with LD. And Jan says, Dylan is just going to run off pace-wise if he doesn't bin it. I'm sure he will be hoping not to. We don't have a huge amount of time left. I mean, we're only going to have 2 more laps realistically after this. So we're looking at the cars come through here, and this is our race format. If we haven't explained it and you don't know it already, 10-minute race 1 with the grid set by qualifying, a 50-minute race in race 2 with the grid set by race 1, and then a 20-minute final race reverse 8 from race 2. And as you say, drive-throughs at 15 and disqualifications at 20x, and this is a place, Evan, where you can pick up quite a lot of X points.
Yes. X's are bad around here, as slowdown's not really, because there's grass everywhere, so you're kind of forced to slow down, but the X's can be bad. So come heat number 3, which is our 20-minute heat, as we just saw on the nice fancy graphic, it could be a problem. It's not been too bad running in terms of the off tracks. Like, our front runners only have a handful each, but there is 5 couple fill ups and, well, was going to say has 7, but that's probably why, given he is getting a nice taste of the inside walled paint. Yeah, so if you have 5 in the 10-minute heat, once you start getting to 10, you're running the risk of a drive-through. As there is Sean McClements getting past Jamal Gandor. Looked a lot closer than it was, I think, as McClements able to dispatch, and he's now up chasing after Jordan Kelly.
Yeah, Sean is battling his way back after being involved in that original incident. One of the things I wanted to point out, though, is Nicky Charlier, number 21. He's had a meatball flag since that incident. And if I remember correctly, iRacing kind of forces you to pit after 3 laps, is it, of getting a meatball flag? Or maybe I'm getting confused between a drive-through. Yeah, so I think Nicky's going to have to either pit at this lap or next lap. Maybe he's trying to see if he can see it out to cross the line and get away with it. But if he doesn't cross the line within the amount of time that iRacing is going to be happy with, then he's just going to get kicked from the race, which means he won't get any points at all. So that is Tony Griffin overtaking Rory O'Shea, and Eric Killeen has just overtaken Harvey Dara as well in the background. Let's have a look at this.
Yeah, this is Harvey Dara and Tony Griffin, and that is Griffin wide and on. A little bit of a nudge between the two. And is there going to be a move around the outside here, or someone going off? Harvey Dara sweeps it round the outside, and a little bit of a nudge. The slightest of contact has sent both adrift. Oh, up he goes. And just the slightest little bit of contact sent them both off. But honestly, they've both done really well to keep that in the positions they are.
Yeah, really well. I think Harvey lost it a little bit on the exit of kind of the corner, and that's kind of what caused that initial contact, and then trying to make it round the outside, couldn't quite do it on Tony. But look, fair racing between the two of them, no harm, no foul. Kevin Joyce up 4 places, Tony Griffin up 3 places, Lee Cogan in 11th place, he's up 10 places, and Peter McCann and Kevin Joyce once again are close together and battling it out. I'm sure the two boys will enjoy this immensely, know each other exceptionally well from over the years. I know Peter McCann set a new race lap record, not a race lap record, a new lap record in his Renault Clio, went sub 2 minutes for the first time around the international track in Mondello at the Track Days Open Day on Monday. So the Track Day, I want to say it twice, but you know what I mean. On Monday at Mondello. So Peter is in great form, and I think he's already enlisting his children as a spot of child labour to get the front splitter going on that car. So fair play to Peter. He doesn't need to outsource for his child labour. He just gets his own children to do it.
How did that end up going there?
Just thought of his Instagram. So I just thought that, Peter getting his own children to make his front splitter instead of actually hiring a professional was an interesting
got to
choice.
be cost effective to run a business these days. As Dean Power and Eric Killeen fighting here, 10 minutes is up, so we'll have a checker this time round, and that is him being pushed by Harvey Dara. It's smooth sailing for Dylan McClements at the front of this one, the easiest heat win of his life, and the championship leader extends his gap up the front. Kamto Chukwa, with dare I say his first podium since the scholarship series, coming home in second, and Jack Wynn coming home in third. Is this a Formula V race? Tony Griffin in fourth after a bit of a moment with Harvey Dara, and Rory O'Shea brings it home in fifth.
Yeah, that's brilliant stuff. Jeez, I think amongst all the nonsense, we kind of forgot that Campto and Jack were where they were, especially Jack Wynn. I mean, Campto's shown pace, but felt like Jack was a good bit back until he got that, I think it was 6th place, but he really snuck that at the end. He was nowhere to be seen. It's Sean Cullen, actually. Sean was the man behind all of those hijinks, I believe, the original lap going into the side of Lawrence de Soswa. But yeah, that's brilliant stuff from both Campto and Jack, and as Nicky Charlier now crosses the line in 27th position. Yeah, Dylan, funny, like he's been massively on the pace in qualifying and has struggled to shrug drivers off in some races. This time he wasn't as obviously on the pace as we've seen, but strolls home to probably the most comfortable heat victory he's had all season. So it just goes to show you that sometimes qualifying doesn't necessarily reflect what happens in the race.
Yeah, what a unique RTA race, I think. It was a slightly different one in the way it was ran. Usually it's, chaos, overtakes. But that one, they were slowly developing a rhythm. Let's see if that rhythm continues on to heat number 2. So Dylan McClements, your race winner. Then it's Kamto Chukwa, Jack Wynn, Tony Griffin, Rory O'Shea, Eric Killeen, Dean Power, Harvey Dara, Simran Thacker, Michael Corrie, Lee Cogan, Conor Melia, Kevin Joyce, Peter McCann, Dara O'Connor, Simon Hutchings, Ross Wheatley, Sean McClemens, Jordan Kelly, and Sean McGoldrick in 20th position. 21st, Jamal Gandor, Colin O'Regan 22nd, Dave Collier 23rd, and Sean Cullen in 24th, Quiveen Brennan in 25th, and Phil Upson in 26th, Nicky Charlier in 27th, and Ronan Keane, Lawrence de Sousa, Dermot Toomey, and Mladen Srekovic, with that same order being the starting grid for heat number 2.
That is the heat we're going to have, and it's going to be Dylan McClemens leading us off this time, and he's shown superb pace, so it's going to be really on Campto and Jack to see if they can catch him, but they've already had a good evening thus far. I have both Campto and Jack as we get ready for the second race of this evening.
Yes, it is Dylan McClemens and Campto Chukwa this time round who are on the front row with Nicky Charlier dumped down the back, and the green flag waves. Good start, Jack Wynne, who's almost up and alongside Campto Chukwa. Tony Griffin as well with a decent launch off the second row in fourth, and they head down towards the first corner. Dylan pulls for the racing line, feels there's no threat on the inside, and he's absolutely correct to have that opinion. And now it is Jack Wynne who's challenging Campto Chukwa down towards the right-hander. A battle rejuvenated from the single-seater season of last. Tony Griffin is on the outside, tried this move earlier on Rory O'Shea, and it seems to have been a similar success on Jack Wynne. They head down towards the Moraine sweep side by side.
Yeah, we could potentially be 3 wide going into this turn number 5. But definitely a touch already between Jack Wynne and Rory O'Shea. Rory's going to hold down the inside. He pushes Jack wide. Jack tries to switch back, I think, but couldn't quite get it. Had to cede the position to the Wexford man. And unfortunately for Jack, couldn't quite capitalise on that podium start. But for Campto Chukwa, he's already got a small bit of a gap, although it is being eaten by Tony Griffin, who has another little bounce around the outside, but a skippy move there on the outside. But for Dylan McClemens, 7/10 already ahead. He is absolutely flying in these cars, and it looks like nobody can lay a glove on him at the moment. He's absolutely imperious last week, and the very same again this week, either side of the Atlantic.
Eric Killeen looking for the move through the carousel, and Killeen is ahead in this fight. Harvey Dara now, are they going to be side by side through the kink and on the run down towards the Canada corner? No, it's dangerous to go side by side through here, and Harvey Dara shoots his way onto the grass but is able to survive due to the flat nature of it. The gardeners here in Road America doing Harvey Dara a favour. That's Conor Melia who's looking for this one round the outside on the 56, not able to do it. That car is busted and banged at the front, a lot of scrapes on the bonnet of Melia's machine. Heading through the uphill left, Harvey Dara still under pressure, and all the fighting this evening involving Harvey Dara, I should say, in the number 13 as they head through the final corner. There's a move down the inside for Dara O'Connor on the 73 of that is Dara O'Connor battling with Ross Wheatley, I should say. Wheatley on the inside, and it's all sorts of elbows out for McGoldrick and McCann.
Yeah, not sure what happened there at McGoldrick. He tried to pull out really violently, but I'm not sure why that was the case. Did he have an overspeed on McCann and thought he could try and get past him as that battle between Griffin and Melia continues? Colin O'Regan's had an issue. He's fallen down the grid, as has Jamal Gandor, it seems. He's battling with Lawrence de Sousa, but and then Sean ended up on the grass and ended up losing all of his pace there. Harvey Dara, I suspect if he did that in real life, that's the sort of adrenaline that you cannot buy going on the outside. And speaking of a big send, here's Roy O'Shea down the inside. He's gone to the shops. And he went out for cigarettes and never came back, Rory O'Shea, and now he's down in 4th position.
Yeah, lack of pints of milk in that household that Rory has left, because that car was never stopping. Very, very late. He's going to go for it again, is he? No, thinks better of it. He fancies staying. As I don't know. Ronald Hedman is laughing very loudly in the back. you can't hear it, folks, but you enjoyed that joke from Kevin. I think that's our worst one of the season so far.
So far.
Yeah.
Well, it could have been. I've been good so far this evening. So
Yeah, we're still waiting on another is all water, not bottled water moment.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah. Yes. Very good. Very good. Sorry. I've been watching a lot of. If you're watching Love on the Spectrum at the moment, you get that joke. But Anyway,
Not a
keep
Simpsons
going.
reference for once.
No, not a Simpsons reference for once. No. But I thought I'd keep it a bit more current. But yeah.
Imagine how dangerous we'd be if we had our own podcast, actually. At least we have like a point of focus here, and that's the
Imagine how
racing.
dangerous we'd be if we were live broadcasting every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. Right, Sean McClements, he's in 16th, is Sean. He's up 2 places, but that's a little bit sketchy. And now that invites Peter McCann to go past. And Peter will say, "This is for all of the times you've caused me untold pain in the steward's room. I am taking that position. Thank you very much." Simon Hutchings and Ross Sweetley having a nice little battle. Those guys are always kind of side by side as Sean tries to move down the inside again. Peter's going to open up the door for him. Very kind of Peter there to allow him to do that. But yeah, I mean, Campto is a good bit off now, Dylan McClements. 1.2 seconds is the gap. But has Jack Wynne very close to hand. So Jack was down to 5th at one position, but now he's back up to 3rd. So we are as we began with the top 3. Dean Power up 2 places. Rory O'Shea up 1 place. So still plenty to play for. But Rory... that's probably the most aggressive move I think I've ever seen from Rory O'Shea.
Yeah, I think so. Can someone who's more tech savvy than me go back and sample Kevin's little ooh and put it over Casey and the Sunshine Band? Please don't go, because it was literally the perfect pitch. So just Kevin just going ooh, and then baby, please don't. Sam, you can do that 100%. Tony Griffiths still ahead of Harvey Dara here. These two made a contact heading up for the Bill Mitchell bend in heat number 1. So if they get close again, we know what can happen. But there's your race leader. Dylan McClements controlled at the front. Camto Chukwa 2nd. Jack Wynne in 3rd. Biggest gainer in this race, Nicky Charlier is up 14 positions. If he could get on the reverse grid here, that would be a massive success.
Oh, I don't think Nicky would take any prisoners if he's on the reverse grid pole in this one, having seen what happened to him last time. There may be a Rexy end up in the wall, we may see, as this number 2 car is flying at the moment. And it's very clear that Nicky has the pace. He had the pace last week and very, very clearly had the pace this week. And I think he'll be a little bit, and rightly so, I think, to be fair to Nicky, rightly so, be a little bit frustrated by what's happened this evening, because I really don't think he did anything wrong in any of that, and just ended up an unfortunate passenger, really, being turned around by Sean McGoldrick, who, ironically, he's now 5 places ahead of. So maybe things will work out better for the part American, part Brit, is that fair to say, in the long term? Right, Tony Griffin in 7th at the moment, and here's Simran Takar now. He's on the back of Michael Corrie, who Michael Corrie and Tony Griffin were pretty close together in qualifying, but Michael having to fight his own battle here now with the Potato Nation car to keep the top 10 spot. Harvey Dara, lads, at the moment, is in that P8, but obviously plenty of time left to go. We have another 8 minutes left in this second heat. So plenty of time to see whether Simran Takar can get ahead of Michael Corrie. He goes for a move down the inside, Simran. He keeps it nice and tidy, does Simran. And that's very, very good from the Canadian. Very, very appropriately polite from Simran Takar, who manages to overtake without killing anybody. So fairness to that.
That's Camto Chukwa, who's gone off there, because both Jack Wynne and Rory O'Shea have gone past him. And Camto, that is in Rexy, you can see just behind the two. So first place is gone with the wind, but 2nd, 3rd and 4th yet to be decided. And it's Jack Wynne who leads the charge through the kink down towards Canada Corner.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of people in the chat will be very, very happy with this. We'll be shouting on. I know Eric Killeen is another one that they shout on. I'm trying to see where Eric is on the grid. He's in 6th position at the moment. So Bicky in 6th and Unk in 3rd. But Rory O'Shea seems to have gone past Jack Wynne. And I think Camto, again, yeah, that is an exceptionally difficult corner. That turn number 6, that left-hander, because you come up over the top of the hill, and like if you get your braking slightly out, the car, it's just, there's no purchase of the car. The car is lifting off. It's like trying to apply your brakes through not through Flugplatz. What's the one in Nürburgring where you literally come off the ground and come back down again? But yeah, it's Flansgarden. Thank you very much, Roland Hedeman on the ball. So it's like trying to brake halfway through Flansgarden. Yeah, something like that. You don't need to know the turns, Evan. You just need to know how to take them fast, and that's what we did in Wildfire last week.
I don't know how to do that. That's why I'm talking about the racing.
Oh well, we'll we'll teach you. You need to join Wildfire and we'll teach you ahead of the Nürburgring 24 hours. Remember, lads, as well, that's going to be coming up at the beginning of June, first weekend of June. And I know that it's my favourite event, but I also know that it's a lot of these RTA lads' favourite event. And normally they share and stream over the course of the weekend. So that's something to look out for. Jack Wynn tried a fairly ambitious move around the outside, and he's taken too much of that curb on the outside and has a slowdown to serve. Now, can he do it in a way that holds up everybody else? There's Michael Corrie in the number 12 Aries Auto Sport car. He was getting a bit niggly earlier on with some of those. I think it was Harvey Dara. He was on the Simran Takar, actually. And Jack's managed to get that done. Jack just kind of parked it on the apex turn number 6. There was nowhere for Campto to go. Now there's a 1.2 second gap between himself and Rory O'Shea. But more importantly, for Jack Wynn's sake, it means that he's still on the podium place.
Yep, he is still on the podium place. It's Dylan, Rory and Jack. Resident know-it-all in the comments, Johnny Hollywood, saying Flugplatz literally means flying place. So it's probably that one.
Thanks. And Schweidenkreuz means Swedish cross, and bonus points if you can tell me why. But yeah, it's actually Jan's Outfella says you can indeed take flight in the new Porsche Cup at Flugplatz. So there you go. That's something to be tested myself. It is a very disconcerting on iRacing, I have to say, Flugplatz, because when you come up over it, you actually feel like the front is quite literally lifting, like you're almost wheeling through the corner, and then you kind of settle back down. But it almost feels like you're actually going to flip it over. Mark Webber, Le Mans 1998, or Mark Webber, Red Bull 2000, circa 2004, or Mark Webber that other time that he flipped the car upside down. But you get what I mean. As Jack Wins, continuing in third place, and he's actually closing the gap here, Evan, on Rory O'Shea. It was 1.2 seconds when we last joined him, and now the gap is around about a second and closing all the time, and still plenty of time here. Probably about 3 laps left here, so plenty of time for Jack to get himself back and with an opportunity, and with all of them following as well, to have an opportunity of second place. So like, even you look at Tony Griffin now, and behind him Harvey Dara, depending on what happens, these guys could still be in with a shout with a podium place as well.
One mistake from any of these, wide open, totally wide open. And Tony Griffin, you can say, oh no, not Tony Griffin, I should say. That is Campto Chukwa, who was looking for a move down the inside, and now it's Tony Griffin, who has snuck his way through on Eric Killeen. That is going for the gap, as Mr. Senna would have said it, and Killeen still on his outside here. Harvey Dara somewhere involved in this fight, and Harvey Dara's got through on Eric Killeen as well. So Killeen's lost 2 places in the same amount of corners, but opportunistic as ever from Tony Griffin, and a really nice move indeed. This is the sort of skill we saw at Hockenheimring in the V's, I should say, when he came out from nowhere and was fighting for the podium places. Tony running excellently here, but still Dylan, Rory, Jack, and then Campto, Dr. Dean Power. Then it is Tony who we are looking at now, but fight definitely still on.
Yeah, and it's great to see Dean right up in the mix here as well. We were talking about him at the beginning of the day as a sort of a having really excelled, and a new name that obviously we're not as used to, but has done a superb job, as that's a move down the inside by Harvey Dara. It's a little bit late, but certainly not a single cent short, as Harvey manages to get ahead of Tony Griffin. Tony's going to carry this battle though up the hill. He clips the inside curve. That's going to spin him towards the karting prodigy. Can't quite get it done. And Harvey with a great move there, the number 13 car, getting ahead of Tony Griffin. This is a superb battle between these two, going back and forth, but it's even better for Dean Power, who's now opened up a near 4/10 gap between the cars behind him.
Tony Griffin in the slipstream of Harvey Dara at front, and Eric Killeen in this fight as well. Killeen is going to look at avenge his woes of the last couple of laps. No changes, and it is Harvey Dara who stays in front of Tony Griffin. I thought that was going to be a bit closer there.
Yeah, the dramatic pause was very if anything, it even further emphasised the anticlimactic nature of that corner. But thank you, Evan, nonetheless, for that comedic moment. Dave Collier now battling in 21. Peter McCann, something has happened to McCann, because Peter was running in around about the top 10, I think, at one point. He was battling certainly with Kevin Joyce for 12th or 13th position, and now he finds himself all the way back down in 22nd, down 8 places. The biggest gainers, lads. Lawrence Tassaz was up 12 places. Diarmuid Toomey's also up 12 places. You can see both of them in your shot here, with expertly done by Ronan ahead of him. But Nicky Charlier up 16 places to 11th place, and Nicky has 6 tenths to Simran Tucker. You can see that coming down. Then quite a bit of a gap to Connor Melia. But if Connor and or Eric make a mistake, the door could be open for Nicky still to get this reverse grid.
It could be, or he could just straight line them, and that would work as well. But that would probably be taking out his anger on the wrong person, because it's Sean McGoldrick, of course, who sent Nicky down the grid. It was on pole, was Charlier. So he definitely has pace around this circuit. Not quite lapping to the same level that Dylan McClemens is. Dylan's putting in qualifying times. He's just done a 2:04.9 on the last lap, which was quicker than a lot of people's qualifying times. Wasn't the fastest of anyone, though. Jack Wynn, 2:04.8. So Mr. Wynn has something to say in this race, and he's only 3/10 of a second behind Rory O'Shea up the front. But we're looking at Melia and Tacker behind. If these two start fighting, and then Charlier will be there.
Yep, I mean, look, and Nicky certainly has the pace, and speaking two boys who have the pace, here's Rory and Jack Wynn. Jack has the better run, but he's going to have the outside line through this opening corner, and 2 by 2 they go through, and Noah's Ark. Jack Wynn round the outside, no slowdowns here for Jack, but Rory, I thought he was going to try and late send down the inside, decides to hold off. He's going to have the run now heading down the Moraine sweep. But great move from Jack Wynn there. Superb stuff. I'm sure the stream would massively have enjoyed that as he makes that sweep round the outside, having gotten a better run. He's going to defend the inside now, going down into turn 5. Rory goes right round the outside, doesn't pick up a slowdown though, gets that one a bit better and manages to hold on to it, but it's still going to be Jack Wynn who has the inside line here as Rory tries to make it 2 by 2. He's going to run out of road here as Rory O'Shea is going to have to tuck in behind, and Campto now is sniffing all over the back of that 81 Hyperi to see if he can get an opportunity here. Jack decides he has just about enough of a gap to take the racing line, which he does, opens up the corner. Rory can't do the same. His exit is going to be compromised now into the carousel as they go single file once again for this iconic corner here in Wisconsin. Jack Wynn, though, what a drive from him. Superb stuff here from Jack Wynn to get himself up there. Nicky Charlier, lads, into 10th position. It's up 17 places, so he's still in with a shout, but what more can be said about this man? Absolutely imperious has Dylan McClemens speed, and really it's just a case of seeing this one out across the line from this point, as you said, turning in qualifying laps while defending his lead.
Oh, Nicky and Connor side by side, and Nicky Charlier is in the gravel. As we cut to Dylan McClemens, Nicky Charlier is in amongst it now, and now it's Sean McClemens, Dylan's brother, who certainly won't be nice and peaceful, I'd say, with Nicky Charlier, but coming towards the line, Nicky runs wider, and Connor Melia and Nicky going and into the gravel has handed Simran Tucker an extra place here, but Nicky will not be happy. With that one, he's going to still finish 11th, which is a monstrous job from where he was in 27th position on the grid. But wow, what a dramatic end to proceedings.
Yeah, and it's around that Canada corner once again. Nicky trying to go for the room move around the outside, and I thought he had the pace, but obviously Connor closing the door a little bit on him. But I think that's fair racing, to be fair. The two of them going side by side, and I mean, it's up to the stewards once again. They're certainly kept plenty busy with Nicky Charlier through his fault or not. Over the course of this evening, but a superb drive from Jack Wynn and indeed Rory O'Shea and Campto Chukwe, but particularly Jack Wynn to finish in second place. A superb battle between those two lads, and I'm sure he will be delighted to be speaking to us again as we go to our interviews for this evening.
Yes, we'll run you through our full race results first, but it is Dylan McClemens, your race winner, Jack Wynn, Rory O'Shea, Campto Chukwe, Dean Power. Good result for Dean in fifth. Fifth is where he finished last week in heat number 3. Harvey Dara, Tony Griffin, Eric Killeen, Connor Melia, Simran Tucker, head of Nicky Charlier in 11th position, Sean McClemens, Sean McGoldrick, then Kevin Joyce, Lee Cogan, Lawrence de Soswa, Simon Hutchings, Dara O'Connor, Colin O'Regan, Dermot Toomey in 20th position. And then a little bit further down in 21st behind the Cork Carter Dermot is Peter McCann, Jordan Kelly, Ross Wheatley, Dave Collier, Michael Corrie, Sean Cullen, Jamal Gandor, Ronan Keane, Quavian Brennan, Phil Upson and Mladen Shrekovic. So let's hear from your race winner, Dylan McClemens. So, Dylan, congratulations. 2 from 2, just as it was last week in Silverstone, but it doesn't look like you've had to break a sweat up the front.
No, it's been easy enough. Qualifying, I was only second. Didn't get to it at the end compared to the Moose, but I knew I had the pace to get in the lead in race one. It was pretty handy from there on and seamless race two.
Is it a track you enjoy, Lime Rock?
Well, it's
Well,
it's a
not
nice
Lime Rock.
fluid. Yeah,
Why
yeah,
have
Road
I said
America.
Road America? Yeah.
Um, well, I don't. It's a good, nice fluid track. I really like it. It's quite of a two fest, but I've been able to break the two the past couple of races, so hopefully I can keep up the last one.
Last week, Heat 1 win, Heat 2 win. Didn't manage to win Heat 3. Is that going to change?
Hopefully, just gonna send it. I think I've got a decent enough gap in the championship, but even if it comes to it, I'll stay in second if I have to.
Well, Dylan, a sensible approach, which we know you are known for in championship fights. Best of luck in Heat 3.
All right, cheers.
Just to my defence, I was racing Lime Rock before the stream started. Let's hear from second
Yeah,
place with Kevin Gavin, Jack Wynn.
I was going to say they're so similar as well, Evan. You
Yeah,
could
yeah.
totally be forgiven for confusing the two of them. Jack, congratulations. You slipped in there quite late on in qualifying with a P6, and I think you, by your own admission, obviously not at the pace of the leaders at the beginning of qualifying. So you must really be in bonus territory here with P2, but you battled really hard for it.
Yeah, I think the incidents in race one kind of left a few of the faster guys on the back foot, and they're kind of having some mid-pack battles at the moment. So it's just left me up the front to kind of get to know other drivers. I think I was saying in the last race to myself, I hadn't really had the opportunity to race Rory, and I have to say, what a dancer! I don't know if you've seen it, but we had a savage little battle there to turn one, and I put full trust into him, and he delivered. Unreal
Yeah,
racing. Big
yeah.
smiling ear to ear at the moment.
Well, I mean, I would be too if that overtake was caught in stream, which it absolutely was. So I'm sure you can go back and have a look at that because we caught all of the action, and it was really brave from you around the outside. And I feel like you're settling into this evening. Like it feels like with every lap you're turning, you're getting more and more confident.
I'll let you in on a very little secret. Road America is one of my top three favorite tracks, I would say. And I have had every permutation of battle you could imagine in turn one. So I really love the track. It's a very forgiving track to push to the limit, but yeah, I feel at home here. So yeah, fair play for spotting that.
Yeah, brilliant. And I suppose, look, nice to be battling as well with Campto Chukwa, of course, your scholarship stablemate, and I'm sure you'll be really looking forward to seeing him get in the car first, and no doubt you'll be down to have a quick look at what kind of machinery you'll be taking part in later this year.
100%. I had the pleasure to meet Campto there yesterday at the track days event, and yeah, just an absolute pleasure. And I was only saying, it's like I'm really looking forward to, because I haven't really got a chance to beat you outright on pace, and it's just hilarious how after that conversation yesterday we had it, but sure, there's one more race yet, so we don't know what could happen. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the last race. Honestly, I can't wait to get racing.
Well, we won't hold you any longer, Jack. Second place, well deserved. Some superb battling. I hope you enjoy looking back at it on the stream. And congratulations. We'll hopefully speak to you very soon.
Appreciate it, lads. Thanks so much.
So that was Jack Wynn. And have we time for Rory
Don't think
O'Shea? Very
so.
quick word.
Mm,
Yes. Rory O'Shea joins Evan Dalton.
Rory, great fight there. Jack said he enjoyed it. Is the feelings mutual?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was a great fight throughout, and especially there at the end. At the end, he did a really, really impressive move around the outside that I just couldn't defend. So yeah, it was a great fun. So looking forward to get back at it again.
Right, we'll let you get back at it as the 5 minute break is up. Best of luck for heat number 3.
Thank you.
So, very brief word with Rory O'Shea there, but good to hear they both enjoyed the fight nonetheless. I always love how you can tell when Jack's enjoyed a fight before he said it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, look, Jack's been a great addition to the league, and indeed all of the people watching on. It's been a great addition to our stream as well. But yeah, I mean, this is the kind of racing that you want. This is the great thing about RTA. A lot of the lads know each other in real life. They take it very seriously, but they don't take it too seriously, and they understand that this is just something to do for a bit of enjoyment on a Tuesday evening, and all's fair in love and racing. And yeah, I mean, look, as he said about Camp to Chuckwa, that was a very funny coincidence. But also, I'm sure if he meets Rory O'Shea in real life, they'll have a good laugh about that incident as well. So that's the lovely connection we have here in RTA, where it's not just super serious racing all the time, and it's about enjoying the racing as much as it is about focusing on the results.
Yeah, but it's always been one of those leagues where it's the racing and the fun first, and then the competitive nature second. So, folks, if you enjoy racing like that, come join RTA Virtual Motorsport. Next season will be in the Indy Next single seaters. There is limited spots available, so make sure to check out rtavirtualmotorsport.com. But Eric Killeen is on the reverse pole. Alongside him, Tony Griffin, then Harvey Dara and Dean Power. This should be a fantastic 20-minute feature here around Road America as we are off and away, and Rory O'Shea is already up to fourth position, hunting down maybe a second consecutive Heat 3 win in a row. And Dylan McClements is ahead of Jack Wynn, but Eric Killeen leads into the first corner. Harvey Zara ahead of O'Shea, now up to third.
Yeah, Dermot Toomey's had an issue, unfortunately. Dermot's had an accident. I think Sean McClements didn't grid either, so not sure what happened there with the older of the two McClementses. But his brother Dylan is in seventh at the moment, has already made up one position. Jack Wynn down 2 places from seventh. Nicky Charlie are up 1 place already. Nicky has very clearly the pace on this grid. So only 4 places between himself and Dylan McClements. So let's see if that rivalry restarts again. Harvey Dara in third place. Here is Dylan McClements, our race winner from race 1 and race 2, showing very clear pace. And yeah, Dylan, very much unlike the Arsenal teams of the last decade, is actually showing up to his potential, is living up to his potential, and has shown from the racer that we saw, picking up the occasional podium now, dominating series, and that's what we've seen this time. Here's Nicky Charlier now with a send down the inside of Jack Wynn, and I don't think Jack was expecting that, but Nicky Charlier now up into 9th place. He's up 2 places now, as Jamal Gondora's had an issue, as has Michael Corrie. The two of them have come together, and unfortunately they've gone down the grid as well. Right, up at the front, Tony Griffin, look at that, in 2nd place, and Eric Killeen very comfortable at the moment in 1st place. Hope we don't curse him with the commentator's curse. But the number 6 Shamrock Motorsport looking very comfortable at the front of the grid at the moment, and not inviting too much hassle as Harvey tries to show his nose out the inside, but Tony wise to that one and doesn't leave it affect him too much. Rory O'Shea now takes advantage of Harvey's move down the inside. It compromises an own exit, and that's Rory O'Shea now up 3 places into 3rd position.
Yeah, Eric's just got to focus, just drive like he has been. You're at the front for a reason. Just steady the ship. Sean McClements' PC froze, so that's why he wasn't able to grid, couldn't get it back going. So whether we'll see him in, well, we won't see him in this race, disappointingly. Here's his younger brother, Dylan, who is on the inside now, looking for this down the inside, and he has got that one done. Dean Power probably knows it's for the best to just sit behind Dylan, maybe try follow him for a bit and get a couple of spots. Lee Cogan getting ahead of Simon Hutchings, and on the inside of Hutchings is Peter McCann, who is looking to work his way through the field. Up 6 positions already is Peter in this race, driving well.
Yeah, really well is Peter, and I don't know what happened in the 2nd race, but he was very much around this part of the grid this time last race, and unfortunately something happened to him in the interim which caused him to fall back. Oh, there is Camto Chukwa, I think, blinking forward ahead of us there. So I'm not sure whether Camto's having some internet issues. Hopefully they can right themselves, because there is nothing more scary than having to battle against a car where you can't see them half the time. Right, Lawrence de Souza is in P17 at the moment. He's down 1 position. Lawrence was unfortunately caught up in that instant in the opening race and the opening corner, as Rory O'Shea now gets advantage of a mistake by Tony Griffin through turn number 6 and turn number 8 should I say, sorry, and has now moved into 2nd place. And that mistake from Tony Griffin has also invited Harry Dara to have a little bit of a nibble. A great advertising here for Team Endurance Tech. and SimLabs as well at the back on the number 14 machine. But yeah, it's a great move from Rory O'Shea, and he's going to put a lot of pressure here on Bicky at the front of the grid.
Yeah, he is. Tony driving with a lot of confidence in this one. Wouldn't it be great to see Tony Griffin stand on the podium, but has a lot of work to do if he wants to stay there. Some other movers and shakers from around the field. There's a lot of one place, but Nicky Charlier's up 3, Dylan McClemon's up 2, and then Rory O'Shea at the front of the field up 4. Problems obviously for Sean McClemens, as we said, and Michael Corrie down 6 as well, and I don't think he has gridded either. Here's Conor Melia and Jack Wynne, and Jack, who's shown good pace tonight, dives to the inside. Conor doesn't opt to defend it. He'll stay on the outside and look to outbrake the Dubliner, and Melia hangs it round the outside, but Jack Wynne on that inside line with a whole lot of confidence, even more grip, gets the move done.
Yeah, super work from Jack Wynne here, and he's down 2 places overall, Jack, from the race start, but he very clearly is well able to maneuver these machines now as we head down towards the turn number 5. So it's Rory O'Shea behind Eric Killeen, only 3/10 now between them. Oh, and that's Harvey Dara going very late. Will he get a slowdown? Yes, he will. That is the earlier Jack Wynne slowdown we saw from going too far on the outside of that corner. Now, whether Harvey can bleed that off in the same way that Jack Wynne did, I'm not entirely sure. Speaking of Jack Wynne, he's going to try and move around the outside here to defend his position against Conor Melia, and rather fitting on the day that's in it, as Rory O'Shea gets past Eric Killeen. Rory gets past Eric Killeen. He's into first place. Super work, and Harvey Dara's had an issue. He was looking aggressive, was Harvey Dara, and trying to force the issue, but unfortunately with that comes the risk of something like this happening. So let's have a look at what happened to Harvey Dara with our RTA Virtual Motorsport replay.
Let's have a look. So that's Dylan McClemens behind him as they head through turn number 7 down towards turn number 8 of Hurry Downs, side, or in front I should say. You can see Killeen and Harvey backed up a little bit and Dylan's clipped him. May need to take another look at that one from a different angle, but it looked like Harvey almost had to slow down.
I think Harvey was already over rotating and then jammed on the brakes to stop himself from spinning, and then that just meant that Dylan had absolutely nowhere to go. I mean, we can have a look at it again, but it didn't look like Dylan sent him. It looked like Harvey was already going before Dylan ever got to him.
A good angle.
Let's have a look at it here. And yeah, Harvey's already gone. Harvey's gone at that point, and he's just trying to go opposite lock, full brake to stop himself from spinning round. But unfortunately, with Dylan arriving on the scene, there's just nowhere for the 88 car to go.
No, yeah, spot on there. Was already going round, and Dylan just made matters worse, unfortunately. Not Dylan's fault. Might have picked up some bumper damage that shouldn't affect him too much, but we will await and see. Camto Chukwa and Dean Power battling here for 6th and 7th position, and Chukwa is the one in front in Rexy, of course. Less than a second behind Nicky Charlier in front. And Nicky Charlier is only 0.6 of a second off Dylan McClemens here, so this one could get feisty. Here comes Eric Killeen to the outside on Rory O'Shea. That's going to invite Tony Griffin. And Tony Griffin is loving that little sneaky move down the inside into the Moraine sweep, the turn number 5. And now Tony Griffin is on for his best ever RTA result here.
Yeah, and Rory now is going to have to do his best truck driver impression, or now apparently O'Connell Bridge protester impression, by essentially making himself as wide as possible and blocking up the road as much as he possibly can. Lewis services are blocked northbound, if you do want to know, by a curd protest on the O'Connell Bridge. But yeah, as well as all other traffic. But yeah, I mean, the motorways of Ireland were clogged today by truck drivers and farmers protesting about the lack of diesel. I think that the roads of Wisconsin are being probably clogged for a very different kind of reason.
I was about to say no one in their right mind would be on a Lewis watching RTA, but literally at this point last Tuesday night I was, so I stand corrected.
Yeah, I'm just glad we didn't go for an interview with you. Right, Captain Chukwa has showed his nose down the inside of Dean Power, but Dean isn't overly put out by that as we cross the 8-minute mark so far in this race. 12 minutes left in this feature race, and Rory O'Shea leading. Dylan is in 4th position now at the moment, so keep an eye on him, as is Nicky Charlier, and Nicky's just 4/10 off Dylan and closing the gap there. You can see him just up the road there. Nicky Charlier has a big gap between himself and Dean Power, so Dean is going to be vulnerable here, but for Nicky, he's going to have the toe and he's going to resume rivalries with the number 88, I think it's fair to say.
Yes, this Could be very, very interesting. Up the front, it's a small campsite between the two of them, 2 tenths, and Tony Griffin is looking to try and take the race lead here in towards turn number 3. But this is Campto Chukwa and Dean Power right on the tail of the 81 is Tony Griffin. And is it going to be another move down the inside here? Can Rory hold his brakes? And Tony looks for the little Mansell dummy, but he's not able to pull it off, and nudging their way down in through. It's as close as you can get. Tony Griffin latest on the brakes. Colleen look to return the favour. They still stay single file. Nicky Charlier and Dylan McClements though are starting to fight as well, and this is what we've been waiting on all evening.
Yeah, because Rory's made a mistake. Rory's made a mistake. He's clipped the curb on the inside, but he's managed to hold it together. I thought he was going to back everybody up there, but look at that. It's like a big Porsche Cup shaped slinky heading through there. No, Tony, way too late with that move. Was never going to make it happen. Tried the dummy, but was never going to make it happen. And tags, and we were only just talking about Tony in our conversation for driver of the day, but that now opens the door for Dylan McClements to get ahead, and he will be so glad to see a bit of gap between himself and Nicky Charlier. But for Tony, that was just a very, very badly timed move from the 14 car.
Yeah, over ambitious, which is so disappointing because Tony's driven so well, but it wasn't the corner to do it. He was too eager. He had the pace, he could have waited, and now Nicky Charlier is going to try around the outside of Eric Killeen, and that's a monstrous move from Nicky Charlier, and could be move of the day potentially. Could be a race-winning one come the end of this. It's now Griffin versus McClements versus Charlier, but dare I say it could be between second and third for the race win here. Tony can still win it on the track no matter what, and if he does win it on the track, we'll still be absolutely delighted, but he might get 15 points docked off that total for the incident with Rory O'Shea. But it is up to the stewards at the end of the day. But yeah, I agree with you, Kevin, was just a little bit too late.
Yeah, and I could see he tried the dummy. You could see he tried the Mansell dummy before, and it didn't quite work out for him. But like, that gap was never going to stay open. You're kind of depending on the other driver to have some sort of sixth sense eye in the back of their helmet to be able to see you do that, because like once the driver's committed to the braking line, like that's all. There's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, you said Tony can win it on track. I think it's going to be very difficult now for the 14 car. I mean, he would have probably needed another 4 or 5 minutes before having Dylan McClements and Nicky Charlier unleashed on him. But Dylan is running, as you said, qualifying laps at the end of that last race, and Nicky's massively quick as well. He's come back from really an unfortunate incident, not of his own making. He qualified pole and has been exceptional since. So apart from being tagged by Sean McGoldrick, he essentially hasn't put a foot wrong, Nicky Charlier. So it's hard to see Tony being able to hold off either of these guys, but whether either of them will survive long enough to make a go at Tony, that's a different question entirely.
Yeah, it's another just late night discussion impending for RTA here, but what we are discussing now is this fight for the race win. And look at this, both Dylan and Nicky have to keep their cool here. Do not let egos outweigh what's at stake, which is a race win in RTA, which is tough to come by these days when the grid is as competitive as it is. There's a trophy for this one as well, and that's what Tony Griffin will be fighting for. And Nicky Charlier just seems to have the pace advantage over Dylan McClements here, but can he pull off the right overtake? Tony had the pace over Rory, but the right overtake was not pulled off. That is what can happen. And now Dylan McClements weaves to follow Tony Griffin, and they all snake their way up the hill and down Road America straight in towards the first corner. And is this going to be where Nicky Charlier goes for it, or will he wait? No, backs off, sensible approach. This will be a move into turn 5.
Yeah, I absolutely expected he's going to wait for the Moraine Downs and try and get the overspeed on Dylan, although we're being slightly obscured there at the view. But yeah, Nicky just holding off. It's an interesting one because obviously, like, Nicky doesn't have nearly as much jeopardy as Dylan does. Like, if Nicky, if it doesn't happen for Nicky, so be it. But if it doesn't happen for Dylan, or there's an accident between them, that could really hurt Dylan McClements' championship chances. Oh, there's Nicky with a massive send. Oh, he said that from last week, and unfortunately that was again Tony did it. Let's see if Nicky, yeah, he does rejoin safely, in fairness to Nicky, but that send was from last week, Nicky Charlier. I don't think he was ever going to make that corner, and Tony Griffin would have had to have made evasive action. And the 14 car, he was lucky to kind of get away with not being the person who ended up at the worst side of that, because it could have easily sent him spinning around, but he managed to hold on to it. And Dylan just watching Nicky sail down the inside. Let's have a look at that again if we can, because I think Nicky, I don't know whether he unintentionally missed his braking marker. I feel like Nicky wanted to go for a move on Dylan, but then didn't realize that he was actually going to end up with Tony Griffin as well, because Nicky's so late on the brake. So let's have a look. He has the speed. We said he was going to go for a move. He was committed to that move, and yeah, I mean, like, I don't know where Tony's kind of really supposed to go there. Like, you're just you're sending it from an absolute mile away. You feel in Nicky's defense that I think Nicky got on the brakes and saw himself go past Dylan McClements, and then his first thought was like, oh boy, because he was just going on a straight line for that apex of the curb, and he was in no control of his machine.
You know where your braking point is for that corner. Why would you send... I don't know. That is a silly move from Nicky Charlier, and he's thrown all away his hard work here. There'll be no race win tonight, that's for sure. There'll be no podium tonight unless there's carnage in front, but yeah, not a good move. There's been a couple of misplaced moves this evening, but that is the pick of the bunch. Tony Griffin still out in front here. It's now up to Dylan McClements to make the move, but because of that bit of contact and a little bit of backing up, there's a whole load of cars here in the train, and it falls all the way back to 6th of Jack Wynne. It is the nature of this corner, though, is to go for the big lunge down the inside, just like Jack Wynne is. And he almost did it again. He almost did exactly what Nicky did, but he's got it stopped a little bit better. And he has somehow got ahead of Dean Power. But Campto, I think, was very aware of the possibilities of what could happen there, seemed to make an evasive move. And that has resulted in no more contact than there needed to be. But Jack Wynne almost repeated the feat there as he hops his way back onto the grass off the curb.
Yeah, these guys are a little bit like, and I know, look, I've taught, I know golf and motorsport don't mix very much, but you know when you have a downhill putt, and fellas hit it as hard as if it was a normal, and then it's just the whole thing just like it's a downhill corner, and like it does mean that you have to leave it later, you have to brake earlier to make sure you stop in the same place. Now, Jack, in fairness to Jack, he moved out and he did descend, but I think he was doing everything he possibly could to avoid contact going down into that corner, because as Dylan tries to move himself, that was Dylan's move earlier on into the same corner. Here comes Jack arriving on the scene, and actually, to be fair to Jack, he had it stopped and also managed to hook it into the curb as much as possible. So I think Jack was doing everything he could to avoid contact, which I don't think the same could necessarily be said about Nicky's move earlier on. But Eric Collini started the race in first place. He's in third place now. He's seen a few come and go at this point, has Bicky, and he's managed to just keep himself out of trouble, which is really the name of the game. As Tony Griffin now is going for a move, Dylan covering him off, squeezing him to the outside through turn number 1. Can he get it done around the outside? Dylan knows that it can be done around the outside. He makes sure he does enough to defend. That's good work there from Dylan McClements, and that's going to invite Eric Killeen now potentially. No, Eric isn't going to have a move on Tony Griffin. Let's do remember, lads, probably have at least another lap after this, so plenty of opportunity. No need to throw all your chips down at the moment and put yourself in a sticky situation.
This could be another big one. And oh, look at that move from Campto. He's on the grass almost. Dylan's got to be careful on the inside because Campto's gone for the mega lunge now. And just giving it a bash. And round goes Tony Griffin. He's clipped Eric Killeen. And now Sean McGoldrick has spun into Conor Melia. They smash into the wall and ricochet back on the track. That's all come from the massive lunge down the inside. It's going to be a hat-trick for Dylan McClements, bar his own errors. And it is pandemonium down into the Moraine sweep in Heat 3.
I would prefer not to be listening to that voice chat at the moment. I think if I was there and Graham's Racing Channel said last lap I feel will be crazy, it is indeed. Let's see if Dylan takes the checkered flag, but if not, then we're going to have to go back and have a look at that. And I think that was all started from the send down the inside by
Campto.
Was it Campto? I was trying to remember whether it was Campto. Yeah, I almost said it was Campto, and then fair play, Evan. Yeah, Campto Chukwa. I think we're going to have another lap here, so let's take the opportunity now as Dylan comes round for. Yeah, we will definitely have another lap. It's only 18:49. I thought it was 19:49 for a second. We've got a white flag here. Yeah, Johnny Hollywood says there will be hair and skin flying in the stewards room. Yeah, I suspect our admins will not be particularly pleased with some of the standard of driving, particularly going into that turn 5, kamikaze stuff going into that turn. And like, it is an open turn, Evan, and it is a turn where you can, as we have a look at this replay, thanks to Rowan Hedeman for coming back here. So it's going to be Campto's lunge, and Evan, this is Dylan McClements further on. I think this is beyond, actually. I think we're going to have to, we're going to have to, no, 2 corners too late, I think. We're going to have to come back there. And going back and have a look. Let's see if we can get, let's go a little bit further back to that, just a small bit further back to that if we can. And I think it all begins with, let's see, it's Campto here. So let's have a look at Campto. So he moves out, tries to move down the inside.
From here, you know it's going wrong. You just know it's going wrong from there. Campto goes for all of them, clips Tony Griffin round.
And then in the background, if we can flick back, Tony takes out Eric. And then I think those 3 cars in front come together.
Yeah, Nicky, I don't even think yours is as bad anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean,
terrible.
I think that the evasive action brings Melia. Who else is involved? Melia.
Sean McGoldrick and Connor both went flying into the wall. Quickest I've seen a car go into the wall there in quite some time.
Yeah, that would be a really nasty shunt if it was in real life. But yeah, Sean McGoldrick, I think the 3 of them just came together on track, and 3 unfortunately doesn't go into 1. So here is Dylan McClements, one of the very few people to keep himself out of trouble this evening, never mind to say anything else. And Campto Chukwa in second, but Dean Power in third place. And Dean, if he can avoid the commentator's curse for one more corner, could be a great shout for driver of the day, because he's had a great evening, has the Dr. Pepper sponsored car. But here is Dylan McClements weaving his way to victory. Dylan, a superb evening. That is 6 race wins from 6. He didn't win the last race last week, but Dylan has been in absolutely imperious form and crosses the line for the 3rd time this evening in first place.
Yes, it is his 6th win of the season. Didn't get the win in heat number 3 in Silverstone, but the dominant force in RTA once again is Dylan McClements. What an impressive night. Even managed to avoid all of the chaos to come home and win that one. Campto gets second, and then Dean Power gets on the podium in third. So big well done to Dean. Make sure to get your Driver of the Day nominations in, folks. We had a lot more before the last 10 minutes of heat number 3, but we have only a couple now. Decent result in the end. How has Conor Melia ended up in 7th? Because I saw him smashed all over the track, but that could have been someone else. Peter McCann managed to recover to 9th. Harvey Dara, who spun at the start of that heat, recovered to 10th. So a madly shuffled up grid.
Yeah, it was one of those races that, like, it was one of those very strange races where being in an incident early actually helped, because it kept you out of all the incidents that happened later on that were more serious. And Sean McGoldrick, we must have gotten back to the pits and gotten a repair job, very quick repair job done, because unfortunately, I think all of Rexy's front teeth were knocked out by that accident with the barrier. He absolutely walloped into the barrier there after that incident, but manages to cross the line in P23. Oh, that is a beautiful shot there. So let's stay with that shot as we get our final race results. We're just waiting for the last group to come in there now. Eric Killeen is all in the pit lane, so I believe that's everybody who's not in the pits. Cross the line is Colin O'Regan crossing there, and Eric Killeen, I think, is eventually going to cross. So, right, let's get our race results for our final chaotic race in this round 6 of the RTA Porsche Cup Series.
It is Dylan McClements, your race winner. Campto Chukwa in second. Dean Power in third. Jack Wynn in fourth. Simran Tacker in fifth. And Kevin Joyce, Conor Melia, Peter McCann, Harvey Dara, Lee Cogan in 10th. Simon Hutchings in 11th. Dara O'Connor is in 12th ahead of Mladen Shrekovic. Mladen, who I didn't even think was running tonight, has somehow come home in 13th, which goes to show how chaotic that one was. Phil Upson in 14th, then Sean Cullen, Quaveen Brennan ahead of Lawrence de Soswa, Rory O'Shea, Jamal Gandor, and Sean McClements, who didn't even start the race and came home in 20th position. So it goes to show what can happen. And then behind Sean, we have Sean Cullen. My results are all a little bit messed up on the timing screen. There we go. We have Sean McGoldrick, Nicky Charlier, Colin O'Regan, ahead of Dermot Toomey, Jordan Kelly, Eric Killeen, Tony Griffin, Dave Collier, Ronan Keane, and Michael Corrie. Let's hear it from your race winner, Dylan McClements, then. Dylan, congratulations, 3 from 3, the hat-trick. But please describe that chaotic heat 3 from your perspective.
It was good the first couple laps. I was making overtakes pretty easily, and I think it was probably around the fourth lap. I was sat in fourth, and then there was a checkup. I got a big damage, and then that kind of ruined me for the rest of the race. I was actually surprised to even get a podium because it was holding me back quite a bit in the long right hander. So, yeah, got lucky enough and kept my head down in some play one with that damage.
A dominant championship lead now for you. What's the mindset from here on out? Is it still just pick up points where you can, or will you be going for race wins, or what's the approach?
Well, I mean, the past 2 weeks I've won 5, so I think it's safe to say I'll just keep on going for wins and try to be as dominant as possible.
Then final few tracks coming up this season. Of course, you were fantastic at Silverstone, fantastic at Road America. We have Donington, Virginia, and Laguna Seca up in the next 3 weeks. Are they 3 tracks you like, dislike, and do you think you can be the dominant force that you are at them?
Well, for the last 3 tracks, I think I'm quite well around Donington. I've got unlucky in the V's there the past 2 seasons, but I've been pretty strong around there. Virginia is a big long track. I haven't raced it in a while, and Laguna, so I think I'll be decent enough around there. Maybe not as dominant because I haven't raced them as much, but we'll have to see.
Well, Dylan, congratulations this evening and this season as a whole, and we very look forward to seeing what you can do in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you very much.
Now, the man of the hour once again for different reasons. It is Campto Chukwa joining Kevin.
Campto, bit of a mad race. Second place, but I suppose, can you talk us through a little bit that late move down into turn 5 in that last lap?
Yeah, I was trying to go for the move on, I think, Eric into that hairpin, and then I ended up braking late end the 2 in front of me because I felt they were braking earlier, but maybe I broke late, I'm not too sure. But the contact, I'm still even looking at it now, but I'm not too sure because I was at the apex, but I didn't run deeper overshoot the corner or anything, and I was looking at the speed difference as well. So in my head, I'm guessing maybe it's racing incident. If it's my fault, then fair enough. But I didn't mean to take out Tony. I wasn't trying to even send it on the trade him. I just wanted to get past just get past Eric. But then I ended up getting too much further into the corner than I expected to. So if I get a penalty, that's understandable. But I don't know what else I could have done because I didn't run away from the apex or anything.
Yeah, we're just having a look at it on stream here, and I think Tony just really wasn't expecting you to be there. I suppose the fact you were obviously trying for a move on Eric, and then Tony's rear left just collided with your front right because he was kind of hugging that line, expecting you not necessarily to be there. I mean, it's but look, it was a great result overall, and I mean, you really worked your way up through the grid. It was a bit of a chaotic race generally. What did you make of this combo?
Hated it. It was nicer in the older Porsche, but this one is just a lot more different because, like, especially into like some of the faster corners, I would break 1 lap and I'd be fine. The next lap, I'd either understeer off track or another lap, I'd end up losing the rear into that corner. So it was like really hard to find consistency with that. And even though I got new pedals, I think getting new pedals in this track was probably not the best track to do it on. But no, it was nice to at least get a podium, 2 podiums. But I know this one is probably like not a nice way to get it because of the crash. But the first one was good. I got lucky where everyone in front of me crashed, and I ended up picking up the pieces. So no, in terms of getting results here, it's been nice to get results, even though I don't like this combination with this car.
And I suppose, look, you have a big couple of weeks coming up. Tell us how you're feeling in advance of jumping into the scholarship car.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it a lot. I'm doing hopefully a seat fit in this weekend or on Monday for the Formula V car to hopefully actually fit into the car. I'm getting my license, I think, done tomorrow. I have an appointment tomorrow. So once that's done, it's just getting a race suit, doing the seat fit, and then hopefully it'll be good to go for Saturday.
Brilliant. Look, Campto, good podium, double podium this evening. And congratulations, and really looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. Have a great week, and take it handy, enjoy, relax, look forward to it. Just embrace it as much as you can. And yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing you out on track on Saturday.
Definitely, yeah. Thank you.
All right, so that was our second place finisher, Campto Chukwa, and I believe we're going to have a quick chat with a man who finished in third place, Dean Power, who had an exceptional evening.
Dean, congratulations and welcome to the Gantry TV commentary box, one of the finer places on earth. But congratulations, it is a podium in heat number 3. Talk us through the chaos of that one.
I suppose it was a bit of a gift in the end, but I'll take it. I'll take it.
So, heat 3 then, you're heading into turn number 5. You see all sorts of pandemonium in front of you. Is there any sort of tactics for getting out of an incident like that, or is it just sort of hope and pray?
I seem now tonight, I seem to be just hope and pray, but it's just about keeping it clean through the 3 heats, and I actually thought Connor was going to do me there, but he sent it a little bit too hard in.
Is Road America a track you enjoy?
I didn't enjoy the practice or anything, but it kind of clicked tonight there when I got into qualifying, and enjoyed it then for the rest of the night.
Yeah, and your results have sort of been coming up in the last couple of weeks. Is that a case of just more seat time, or you're learning different things about the car? What's happening there?
Yeah, I think it's just learning the car, to be honest with you. I've been improving, so hopefully I can just stay near the pointy end there for next couple of races.
Yeah, next race, I should say, is Donington Park. Looking forward to that one.
I don't think I've ever done this combo, this car, that track, so we'll see.
I don't think there's many, to be fair, but Dean, we wish you the best of luck and congratulations on the podium. And the good news is you are also tonight's Gantry TV driver of the day, so congratulations.
Lovely, lovely. Thanks, lads.
So good to hear from Dean there on the podium. Sounds really delighted with that one. And he is also our driver of the day.
Yeah, I think 2 out of 5 for enthusiasm, but 5 out of 5 for avoiding that incident. And looking at Dean's footage through the crash, I think we've identified exactly what happened to Sean McGoldrick, and it looks like when Jaxer came back on track, having avoided that incident, he kind of spooked Conor Melia, who moved left to get out of his way. And then that sent him into Sean McGoldrick. So maybe we can have a look at Conor Melia, maybe, perhaps, and have a look at the onboard of him, because what happens is Jaxer comes off track. We can run it forward a little bit there, Ronan, if you don't mind. And Jaxer goes off track to avoid the initial incident with. So there's a contact already there between Conor Melia, and then Jaxer has to go around the outside. He comes back on track, and then you could see Conor moves to the left to try and avoid Jaxer, but doesn't realize that Sean McGoldrick is there, and then sends him straight into the barrier, and Sean just gets pushed straight into the wall there. So yeah, it was all very untidy. I suspect the stewards will not have a very bright view of some of the shenanigans this evening.
Such a stupid incident. I don't know how Sean and Connor actually both managed to finish that race, let alone Connor finish in the top 10. But on board with Sean McGoldrick here, you can just see all sorts of carnage. Tony Griffin spins in front. Tony Griffin actually spins off the track. So I don't even know how these guys have made contact. But there you go.
Well, yeah. But look, Oh,
Oh,
and then that's
there's
somebody
someone
arriving on the
else.
scene. That might be Nikki. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh,
Oh dear. Oh, Sean. Poor Rexy. Poor Rexy. Oh God. I thought it was only a
like
dental
seriously, lads,
rearrangement,
how
but
have you all hit him? He sat
I
in the
think
middle of the road for about 15 minutes. Like he stopped. Like
oh,
Nicky
that's
avoided
Nikki.
him for.
That's
Oh,
Nikki. And who's that then?
oh
That
Rory,
is Rory. And that's then Dermot
what are you
Toomey.
doing? How? Oh, there's a reason there's a crash in the motorways every morning in this country.
Oh, stop! If it isn't the truck drivers holding up the motorways, it's
Nicky Charlotte.
dopes like these. Yeah, right. Look, very chaotic race, but Dylan McClements cutting through all of it. This man on screen to absolutely demonstrate why he is a huge runaway candidate for this RTA Porsche Cup Series Championship. Thank you very much for joining us. So we are heading back across the pond over to Donington Park, the GP circuit. So we have the full layout with both hairpins in that one before we round out with 2 more rounds at Virginia and Laguna Seca in America. My many thanks to you for joining me, Evan, and indeed Ronan Hardiman this evening. Make sure you head to rtavirtualmotorsport.com. Where you will see all of the stewards' penalties for what's going to happen this evening. If you're on the Discord, I would strongly suggest you join that as well, because that'll make for some very interesting listening. Also, our other partners, Bois Motorsport, they're on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on everything really, Bois Motorsport, so you can follow them on that and you get all your update on Irish motorsport news, both real and virtual. And of course, Mondello Park, where this Saturday, Camto Chukwa is going to be the very first of our RTA scholarship
Excellent.
drivers to take next Saturday. Sorry, yeah, sorry. Okay, well, Saturday week then. People should be more clear when they say that. Camto is going to be the first of our RTA scholarship drivers to take part in a real world race. But from me, from the ever pedantic Evan Dalton, and from Ronan Hedman in the background, thank you so much for joining us on Gantry TV. As we say, give a thumbs up, give a subscription, and enjoy your week. We'll see you next week at Donington Park. But until then, slán go fóill.